like she said, observe how these people do their things, how they converse, and how they transact. So all of that, and also wisdom to manage relationship. It is not everybody that comes into your life that you're meant to date. It is not everybody that comes into your life you're meant to task. It is not everybody that comes into your life that you're meant to treat casually. So all of these have helped me.
Interesting, interesting. Thank you, thank you. Like I said, this is follow packed. If you are paying for master classes, you know how much you're going to pay to get this kind of follow. So let's pay attention. I noticed we've all been very modest, and I don't like that. Yes, we are being modest in our. Yes, you first violated my rule. I'm going to fine you for that. I said, I think it's been sweet from everyone, but I like to flip the coin, right? And I want you to be very honest with us. Because the truth is, the journey has never been, so it's never been this smooth, never been this sweet. And I have tons of people here today that are in their head asking themselves, is this how smooth this thing is? Right? So I want you to be very honest. So before it becomes sweet, right? What has been the pain moment, the challenging moment, the times where you were rolling, counting, ceiling, and it's 5 a.m., you are still not sleeping. So what happened in those moments, and how are you able to flip the coin to when it now becomes clearer that, okay, this is it? So let's start from you, yes.
All right, thank you. So it's not always been smooth. Thank you. So it's not always been smooth. One question I always got was, kilo fe fi jẹun ná? Like, because I literally tried everything I could find, I could lay my hands on. I'm someone who is very passionate about so many things. I went into fashion, customer service, I went to Aba, I'll buy bed sheets, come and sell. I started selling menswear. I did so many things. Then I said, okay, I wanted to learn makeup. That did not work for me. So I tried a lot of things. Then I learned fabric embellishment, how to bead clothes and all. So at the end of the day, it got to a point where I just looked at my life and I had a series of abandoned projects. Like, I started this, I discovered that it was out of pressure, and then I abandoned it. I'm passionate about another thing. And so also, I got my fingers burnt a lot in this real estate because I brokered some deals that went bad, had legal cases, even went to police station. I've slept in the police station before. So all of this, it made me reassess everything, that I don't think I want to really do real estate before I eventually settled for real estate. But I was scared because it's a high risk. Real estate is that you're going all in or you don't go in. A type of money in real estate, and I'm like, someone wants me to come and train, they are paying me 500, 450. I'm like, no. When for real estate, all I have to do is just run adverts, make phone calls, make a nice video, and then boom, I have millions coming into my account. So I decided to, partner with the right people, carry out thorough due diligence before I engage. So yeah, like he said, it's not always been easy. Up till now, people still look at me and they feel you're still figuring life out. And the truth is, I'm still figuring life out. I'm still going to explore so many things. But what's important is just stay true to yourself and make sure, like the speaker said, make sure that your passion is kept aside, make enough money, then you can go back to feed your passion eventually, because you will go hungry. What I was pursuing with fashion was passion. It was not giving me money, so I kept it aside. I still want to own a fashion outfit, but real estate is what is going to fuel that.
Okay. I've had a lot of failures. I mean, you'd think that because I'm young, I probably wouldn't have it, but I've had a lot. Okay. I'm thinking I'm in a bit of a pickle to which one to say. So because most of the things I've achieved are tied to institutions, right? Institutions I've worked with. So the donor community, you get to write, you get to have projects. And projects have a timeline, right? And when you're part of a project in a very structured institution, what happens? When it ends, what do? Either you try to be in another project, or whatever, you're just there and somehow you could get stranded, right, in the process. So I think one of the biggest that happened to me, or no fault, I was leading a project. I was supposed to be a 5-year project. I'm not going to mention the donor or those parties concerned. I'll just give you the scenario. And the project got cancelled after 1 year. I had built castles in the sky, I tell you. I'd built everything, had planned, also futuristic. You know, when they say, don't count your eggs before they are hatched, I counted all the eggs. I knew how many eggs I was expecting. So in the first year, I was a bit lavish with my money. I was like, because I hadn't seen that kind of money before. If you think about it, it's not a lot of money, but coming from where I was coming from as a core member, building, and then just as a senior staff, it was devastating. So I went to ground bottom. But then, I mean, one of the things that really I kept thinking about, I remember there was an event we had, and I think it was the former AFDB president that said something. He said, we need to support young people. And he said something, and the way he said it is not, the impact he was trying to make, I kind of, redefined it in my mind. He said, if we invest in young people and they fail, so what? I can't forget that statement. It's etched in my head. And I'm like, yes, if they fail, so what? They learn and they get better, right? So I told myself that, okay, I didn't expect the situation to happen. Funny enough, I don't want to take too much time, but funny enough, in that process, because the institution I was working with, they loved me so much, so they kind of still involved me in a lot of things to help me make money. I must acknowledge that. So I traveled, I went to Togo, I met the president, I went to so many places in terms of design and kind of my core expertise I had at the time. So they were leveraging that, but they couldn't keep me because of the budget constraints. And so I had to go back, and I started a business. It's called Entremium. I'm not selling my business, I'm just saying. Right? So I started a business, and in the middle of that, I think there is something about the right kind of collaboration and how you position yourself that people, for some reason, will just not forget that you are the right person for a particular kind of job when it comes up. So I went for a church camp, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I received an email. Are you interested in this? Let me. Arrogance of 9 to 5 people, if we're being honest. I usually say 9 to 5 and business people. If you ask me who should run Nigeria, I'll say business people, because there's just something about 9 to 5 people who are structured, 30% for this, 20% for just, it's not a fear, but it's just planning and having plan A up to Z. If this doesn't work, like as I'm seated here, I have a lot of plans in my head. If this doesn't move the way I expect it to move, what is the next strategy? What is the next strategy? What is the next strategy? And how do I prevent this from happening again? Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, she's one of my role models, so you must understand why I'm overwhelmed there. So. All right. As far as failures go, my life does not have a straight trajectory. I've done things, my fingers have been burnt, and because my fingers were burnt, I then use that thing as the foundation for the next thing, and then on and on and on. So let me give some examples. I trained as a lawyer, like I said earlier on. But at some point, because my father was a computer engineer, right? So I grew up with computers. From family, friends, no fools, because they just loved me, right? So, and they all gave me money, and then I went, and within 6 months, I've burnt through the money. I did all the wrong things. Everything was wrong. 6 months later, money was finished. The product did not sell anything. The product was there, and then after some time, I was just like, you know what, let me go back to my law life. But the interesting thing is that particular endeavor of mine was the basis upon which I got my first access into the tech space. Because people were not like, oh, you are the one that did this. Interesting. Oh, can you come and talk about this? They started calling me tech lawyer, and I'm like, I'm not a tech lawyer. I'm a lawyer that did tech, and I'm not a tech lawyer. But interestingly, some of those things were also the basis upon which I did one or two other things that then made somebody say one day that, Ayo, I believe you can do this, and then I did it. And then somebody else, and I want to be because Matthew said we should not be modest, so I'll try not to be modest. I want to be very frank. We are Christians, and we are in church. And for those who are not Christians amongst us, we are in church. So we can never underplay the place of God in a man's life. When I was giving my example where I was robbed and stabbed 3 days before the program I did here, right? And based off that incident, I got a job where I became chief compliance officer. Because somebody actually called me and said, I learned that you got stabbed. What was happening? Why? I said I was on the way for an interview. And it's like, how much do they want to pay you? When he said the amount, I was like, this Nigeria. What if I pay you double the amount? I was like, okay. Is this happening? And eventually, I went and I got a job, and I even got way more than even what he said, right? And this came off getting stabbed. right? And then I walked there. I walked my heart out there. And then at the end of a year, I told myself I was done here. And then I went back to almost ground zero. But in the space of that 1 year, and I'm like, how? But then I then went back to ground zero, and God was just faithful. So you can never downplay the role of God in a man's life. That's the first thing. The second thing is something I frankly believe. And, okay, so let me go back to being modest because you just have to be very careful. I think that anybody can be successful at anything. I mean, there are people who didn't go to school. There are charcoal merchants. People are cutting timber. People are at the ports. People are successful. And for me, I think there are two things, right, that would distinguish a person. The first is what I call self-awareness. The second is self-regulation. And I think that it's a common thread you'll find amongst people who eventually become successful at anything that they are. They've always been highly self-aware, self-awareness, which is what eventually gives clarity, right? But there's one thing to know what to do. There's another thing to now actually be able to do it. There are a lot of people that know, for instance, that if you want to pass exams, you have to study. Some people are even aware enough to know that if I don't read this 10 times, I might not get it. But to then actually regulate yourself well enough to actually then do the 10 times study, that's a different ballgame entirely. And I think that's a thread you will see amongst people who are successful. Because even if they are in a place that does not have enough opportunities, they will still distinguish themselves. One, God is my father. He loves me, right? And like my good friend was saying, he causes all things to work together for the good of them that loves him and are called according to his purpose. So God's love is there, and he will work things out for us. The second thing is, then it now comes back to you. Now, that's God. God will take care of the external environment. But you then have to do some work on getting as much self-awareness as possible so you can understand yourself and how you will interact with that.
So for me, I have many points of failure, I would say. But because, again, I'm going to share only two stories. And that's because I'm trying to avoid TMI, too much information. Even these two, I think is too much information. But it's my people that have invited me, so let me be a little bit vulnerable, right? So I'll give you two occurrences where, and I'm picking these two case scenarios because of the team, like around Cleverly. So I mentioned two occurrences where, I had to go back to ground zero, completely confused as to what I was going to do next. And then I had to go through all of that phase to figure out the next step. One was about 9 or thereabout years ago. I just graduated from one of the most prestigious computer science programs in the country. Then also completed my master. I'm a child of God. Number two, how many people have this kind of, both, BSc from a top school and then again another master's. So I was kind of just confident that I'm just going to ease into, in fact, to be a privilege for them to have me. That's the kind of confidence and bravado I had. Until I started applying for jobs, and even Ojere rejected me. That's all. Okay, there is a problem. Something is going on. I even applied for one job, and the guy said, "We love you. You are so absolutely awesome, but you have to pay us." I'm like, "No, that's not how it works. I'm supposed to work for you. Then you pay me. How am I supposed to get a job and pay you?" So I just realized that something was terribly. I needed urgent intervention because not only did I not have money, and there was nothing that was just working. There was no money, no job, no anything, So I declared a 3 days fast, locked up myself in the room. So why are you seeing my face when I don't have anything to offer to the world? So I remember I locked myself up in the room. And I can never forget, I got this book called, because again, I was struggling with just, what am I supposed to do with this life? I got this book called The Purpose Book by Jimmy Terry. And I remember I stayed in that room 3 days. I still joke with this with my folks. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but I also know what I was not meant to do. Remember at that time, my dad was saying, "Come and work with back from FISC." I said, "Sir." It's not. Again, no shade to anybody who is doing FISC job, or if you know anybody. I just knew that was not for me. I can't imagine myself standing up by the road and say, "Park." I just couldn't do it. But I knew I still did not realize what I just didn't know what to do. So went and prayed, and at the end of the third day, did not hear anything from God, because I was expecting He would just appear to me in a vision and say, "My son." Did not hear anything, and I was just about to wrap up. So in my frustration, I was like, "Yeah," and I've never done this before in my life. I remember I had that small phone that had a radio station. In my life, I'd never done this, so I put on the radio station, and then there was this company online talking of 3 days prayer and fasting. I could not believe it. But anyway, went after that stuff, went to go find this guy, and see. Again, God is awesome. So I met them, and see, again, when I said they were not going to pay me anything, so that you work with us, but you working with us will be your learning. And so, as a master, I used to tell my people, because they used to complain, you are earning 100, you are still complaining. So, as a master's degree holder, I worked for 6 months without pay. After that, the master had to pity me. You're coming. That's the day I used to plug in my ear. I would listen to Simon to and fro. People would think that I was like, "Oh, I'm just trekking." It's a lie. No money to go home. It's just trek. So I'll use that time and then listen to Simon's to and fro and all of those stuff. But anyway, 6 months in it, the man started paying me 30,000 naira. That was when I started learning that clothes matters. So I started paying attention to the kind of clothes I wear. But they would tell me, "You cannot go like this with me. I'm sorry, I'm not taking you along because you are dressed this way." So I started learning, okay, you don't dress anyhow. That's why I stopped wearing slippers, because I used to wear slippers up and down before. Yes, sir. So I stopped wearing slippers. All of these things you started learning, right? And I can tell you many, many stories of the things that happened there. I had so many breakthroughs working with the man. But I learned so many things. And then one thing happened, I organized the program while I was leading, is because, again, I grew into become the program manager, led everybody in the team. Imagine, somebody was keen to come and learn. So I was so hungry to learn, right? And one day I organized the program. A coordinator for GIZ was in there. I don't know what I did. Only God knows it today. The man just fell in love and said, "Shion, there's something that's coming. I need you to apply for it." I told my boss, they said they should apply. My boss told me categorically, "We will not get it. We are not qualified." The man called me again the next day. "Why have you not applied?" Apply. I said, "Boss, let me just apply, even if you not, at least, so that this man will not think that I'm disobedient." We got in, and that's how I got serious exposure. And then, again, my salary improved again. GIC started paying per DM, Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so you see all of those things that are involved. We need to serve. And I got my major victory from that place by also serving. Somebody was doing something, I served. The guy called me after and said, "Do you want?" That's how I got to work for the first AI innovation lab in this country by service. I did not apply for that job. Till today, people used to wonder, like, I did not. The man called me and said, "Sheon, do you want to work for this?" An opening. And that's how I applied. And most of my jobs, that's how I've basically done. So that's one stage of it. So I got this job in this AI innovation lab, managed the team when I'm talking about it, it's DSN. And DSN right now is the biggest AI learning association delivery network on the continent by a mile. It's not even by any measure. But anyway, when I joined them, we were just about 6. I was able to grow the team to about 40 before I left. But that's the second story. That's the second part of the story I want to say again, because that's another big lesson point for me. I started leading projects across multiple countries. I was stay in Abeokuta, I'll be having calls with people in Washington. My life had just basically, maybe the money was not necessarily there, but my exposure, my life had basically completely changed. I just know that I just needed to quit. But I was looking at my bank account. Ebiakpa. And the truth is that Ebiakpa, shege. But I had to quit the job. And again, I had to go back home again. I remember I want to cut my hair. I had to ask my parents for it. That's why I knew that I was broke. Imagine you want to cut your hair as a grown man with full baby, and you're asking your parents for money. And so that's what basically happened to me again. But what then happened was I was busier without a job than when I had a job, because I continued just to serve. And something happened as well, again, which is something, thank God we're in a house of faith, so I can say some of these things that do not sound weird. And that's the time I started, I don't know how to describe it than use this word, like I was inhaling scriptures. So I believed there was such a tremendous amount of faith. One time I woke up and I wrote exactly how my next job would look like. I wrote ×3 of my previous. I wrote all of these crazy things. Even when I was writing it, I was saying, "Are you deceiving yourself?" I remember I told myself, "I don't want to do any physical office job again. I want to work remote." Since then, I've not worked any physical job, by the way. So I wrote all of these things down, but I was still confused. I was just doing Jama. I remember I was trying to join a Madras program at the time. I was just finding anywhere. I started a consulting company called iFamous. There was nothing to, we're just, I was dancing like a mad person, but there was no job. But there was a joy in my heart that I've gotten a job. All of a sudden, one day I applied. So what happened because of all of the things I've written down, I filtered out all of the jobs I was applying to. So I never applied for any Nigerian company. Sorry, but that was just, I just didn't apply for Nigerian companies. I didn't feel like that was the next stage of my life. I'd experienced the peak of the Nigerian company. I didn't want to work in anything Nigeria again at that time. Like I was done. So instead of applying for remote jobs in the US and all of these things, then I came across one job there. I applied. I applied knowing that I'm not fully qualified, but I applied anyway. This is another lesson there again. Don't lock yourself out of opportunities by yourself. Apply for things. Even if you don't qualify, still apply. So I was then, this is when I started having doubts that maybe I will not get this job, because the person that interviewed me graduated from Harvard. So as they were introducing herself, I said, but is she company apply for? And the owner of the owner of the company was a product lead at Google before, and all of this, the person who leads, learning, had graduated from do this job. I was just trying to convince them. Eventually, I got in, and then I started working with people that's when God again opened my mind that all of these things is frameworks and standard. They don't have two heads. Because I started working with all of these people, I just realized that all of us are the same. If you are willing to exert yourself, we are all the same. But anyway, I then got an offer letter. So that's when I realized that our stories can change in a moment. I saw the offer. When you are looking at this, so did they make mistakes? Should I reach out to them and ask them that, is it a mistake? Because the amount of money I'm seeing here, even though I prayed for it and I believe for it, but is it? And that's how, and again, how I got out of that phase of confusion of not knowing what to do. But one lesson that I think came out from all of those things is that I never stopped moving. One was go back to God and ask God. But number two, never stop moving. Don't just sit and say, I don't have anything to do, and then fold your hand. I said, everything that you find doing, do it with all of your heart, do it all diligence. So I never stopped moving. Like I think Mr. Matthew posted one day on his status, a moving man will find his luck, or something like that. That's absolutely right. I just kept on moving, kept on believing, but also kept on exerting myself, kept on learning. This is how you know that this thing was supernatural, because one day the woman asked us, how did you get to join the company? Because everybody we employed were from recommendations. I don't know anybody. How did you not get it? I said, I saw the job on LinkedIn and I applied. Then she told me, now, you don't believe that job was only on LinkedIn for less than 6 hours. He said, why? He said, because once we opened it, people were just applying, and it was all nonsense applications. So we had to shut it down. So when she now said, is it within that 6 hours that you applied? I said, I don't know, but I saw the job and I applied. But I smiled immediately knowing the back end. The back end was that God said, write the kind of thing. That's it, for a job I did not receive. But that's one thing. So for me, I honestly feel that my steps out, even the current job I'm doing now, was I didn't apply for it. And I used to tell people, I got offered the job over an expensive meal. I was eating and we were gisting, and I said, will you do it? And I said, yes, that's it. You understand? So I truly believe in God ordering steps, but I extremely believe in doing excellent work. That don't attach your name to mediocrity. Don't let them say, who did this nonsense? You now come and they say, it's you. And you see the terrible work. Do excellent work. That's why I don't like attaching my name to anything mediocre. I just remove myself. I know to do again. You have to attach. So those are the key things that I did notice. So thank you very much. I'm sorry that I took too much time. Now you asked for a story. So that's it.
Thank you so much. I think if there's anything I've picked from everyone here today, it's almost the same. First, keep going. Sometimes you don't have clarity. Keep going. And number two, at one point or the other, each of you was picked by someone. Someone took interest in you and just say, would you do it? Like the mail you got. Would you like to do this? And I think that story, there's a place, they may not even take you for free. I mean, you like to work with Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola doesn't like you. Like, you will do it for free, but still they don't like you. So it's a value for yourself if they take you. You know what I mean? So find someone or some company that is very solid, that you love to work with, Go there and work for. Every time I say these things, young people will laugh. I don't want to do free. Especially in church. I'm a pastor, so I know what I'm saying. Some of these things that he is described right now, some people don't understand it. That God will tell you to dance, it doesn't make sense. So many things doesn't make sense in life. But we do them anyway. I remember when I was serving, it was, internet was new. We had Starcoms. So I started my SMS business, my bulk SMS business. It was very new in the country at the time. So I was posted to Enugu. I remember in the university, when I was in final year, my mom bought me this desktop system. So I took the desktop system to Enugu to sell my SMS and my Starcoms. And then I came back. At the time I came back, SMS has also started going down. It wasn't selling as much as it used to sell. Because a lot of people are now doing bulk SMS and all of that. But when I got back to Abeokuta, I told myself I would probably just see what I can do. I looked for a job. At that time, you have to go to a cafe, apply. And I went to cafes. I was applying. At one point, I asked my mom for money to go do and she said, there's no money, figure it out. That's the point I knew that she's tired. And that's about 1 month after NYSC. So 2 months into NYSC, I decided to start a business center. I took my system, that system that she bought in final year, took it back to the University of Agriculture where I got. Along the line, I built that to some extent. I had a second store. But I kept going and all of that. But at some point, something happened that made us have to quit the location where we were doing the business. The new vice chancellor made a rating. In the midst of that business, we bought our first car. But it was not something that people liked. Like, I was the fellowship president of the biggest campus fellowship in the university those days. So people knew me. So they would say, Pastor Tade is not doing computer business. Oh, I'm saying that you can start somehow. You can start somehow. It's not disgraceful. It's nothing. I got married in that business, bought our first car, gave birth to our first child in that business. And so the people who will make jest of me, on my way driving from the university, I will pick them from the bus stop where they are saying, "Kamsa." You know that kind of thing. So, but one day, okay, before that time, I got employment. I'm a lecturer. I'm still a lecturer till today. My wife is also a lecturer. So we are still in academics till today. And so all my degrees are in fisheries. First degree, second degree, first PhD is in fisheries. Our own PhD also in agric extension, that kind of thing. All right, so when I got 100 level, and I was not part of those who are going to choose because I still had a session. And so the people who were going to choose, I already promised one person in the fellowship to say, you're going to become the next president. The person was going to be chairman of that committee. But eventually, by the time they met, the rest of the team, about 4 of others said, no, we want this person to be president. You can't be the only one that will decide who will be the president. And so I became the president of the fellowship. And this guy was now made choir coordinator and all of that. He was not going to cooperate with me. To have a training for music, guys in music and all of that. And then he was going to bring Wale Adenuga. Wale Adenuga was popular then as a music minister to Abeokuta. And then he was going to gather everybody. He shared the vision with me. I approved the budget. He didn't know I was going to approve it. He was looking for a fight. I approved that budget, and the program was held. It was successful. Years later, after that program, he came to me and said, he didn't know I was going to approve that budget. But he thanked me profusely. Like, oh, thank you so much. You made the program successful and all of that. Years later, it was this guy who called me for the lecturing role. He was already in Abuja. He was pastoring, and he had big guys in his church. And this guy said, I want somebody in fisheries. I was in Abeokuta, sleeping after a midweek service. And I was asked to come and work in Ebonyi State. And there's a background story, like you said also. And I already fasted and said, God, give me a job. Because already what I was doing was not looking like it. And anytime there was a break, holiday, or ASU strike, it was not always pleasant. We would use all our resources, all of those things. And so this guy said, there's a job. Would you like to do it? I said, what should I read? I don't know. It's been long I left school. It's been 7 years I left school. And I said, don't worry, you just show up. And my letter was bearing the date of my interview when I got there eventually. Because it was not about it was not about what I knew. But somebody already submitted my name. And I'm telling you, that is life generally. You see, many years after I wrote this book, The Loss of Relationship, because it's everything. And I can tell you that I have 9 expressions of our church, 3 campuses, 6 other churches. And our church will be 6 years next week Sunday. And that happened in 6 years because of relationships. It's not something that is irregular. We have churches that we built, 2 of them. We built them in those 6 years. In fact, we have built them within the first 3 years of the church. That happened because of relationships. There are friends you have today. There's somebody sitting beside you right now. You don't know them. I've heard your name in several times from Emmanuel. There are times he will say there is a project, but there are 3 of you. There is you, there is Matthew, there is Hamzat, and I don't know, but 3 of you should apply. It's always about somebody who will mention somebody's name behind the scene. Because they will make the name public. They will make the advert public, but I'm telling you, it's not about the public. Somebody's name had been mentioned. We prefer this guy because we know his antecedents. And so you are going to build something over time that somebody will be able to mention your name and say, I know this guy. And I'm telling you, everything is about relationships in life. It was a guy, I was looking for people who would speak for me. I was liaising with one of my friends. We graduated together from FUNAP. And he helped me look for a guy. This guy, a member of his church. He was the guy who designed the jam portal. At the time he built the jam portal, he had built this portal, before these exams, online exams. He had built this portal and was trying, frankly, to see the jam registrar or something. He had tried, he would go, they would tell him he can't see you. But one day he was talking to his friend about how he was going to see the jam. He was just telling him about his frustration. But the guy was in the company of a young lady, and a lady that does not look like anyone. And the lady said, would you like to meet the president? It was in the days of President Jonathan. Would you like to meet the president? You don't understand what I'm saying. I said I'm trying to meet jam registrar. You're talking about meet the president. And so that at least she will let him go. She said, okay. By that night, she has fixed a meeting with the president. Listen to that kind of pitch. There was the finance minister, there was the education minister, there was the minister of this and that. And they were all seated. After he has spent for about 5 minutes, he said, okay, it's okay. Minister of Education, get it done. Because in that meeting, the jam registrar will not be there. Yeah. It's too small for that role, for that meeting. It's just when they tell the finance minister of education, just go and get it done. And that was the end of it. That was how we started writing online papers in JAM. Because someone met someone who wasn't looking like it. There are days, some of your classmates in school don't break away. Some of them, you will be shocked at who they may become. There are people I know today, we were not, I know Sam. We had that discussion last time. You said, when I talked about Sam, and you said, you know Sam, and all of that. I knew Sam years back. I'm his pastor. And I didn't know that it would become this. People don't always look like. I knew him as a guy who was driving one rickety. Today, don't let me say anything else. So what am I saying? Relationship is key. I'm here today because of relationship. This Saturday, I don't do meetings a day before service. Our conference is the coming week. I'm busy, but the person who invited me, I have to come. Relationships. Don't joke with people. You can't tell what they will become. They may not look like it today. You don't know what. Some of you, I'm sorry to say, this is not a relationship conference, and I have to close, of course. The person you are dating right now, you are feeling like the house they came from. There's no way we are going to become anything. You do know what they can become tomorrow. That lady, that guy, who doesn't look like anything, they can become something. And you'll be shocked, I should have married you. You should have, but you did not. Exactly. And if they have married you, they may not have become. Because a number of times we have this discussion that, thank God I married you. When you have become successful as a man, you say, thank God I married you. You will now have become this one. What if your becoming was actually because of that woman? Yeah. Because I heard that story about presidents, being the president. Because I carry something that makes people presidents. That's the point also. Do you make people president as a woman? Can you make your wife also become? Oh. Okay,
thank you. This is amazing. This is amazing. Because of our time, we are going to wrap it up here. But I believe we've all learned one or two things. And in my takeaway, right, so I'll start with this. Just like he dropped the mic. Who is in your corner? That's number one. Who is speaking on your behalf when you are not in the room? And then what are they saying about you? It's very, very important. I want to thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And thank you for gracing this event with your presence. We appreciate the value you have given us today. And we believe that when we call upon you next time, you will honor us. Thank you very much.
Can I talk about this in 1 minute? Please, I have 20 of these here. If you are interested, the laws of relationship, strategic blueprint for accelerating your destiny. If you are interested, I have just 20 copies. It's 5,000. Thank you.
All right, so before I pass the mic to, don't go yet. So I'd like to call on Pastor and Pastor Mrs., then Pastor Mrs. Ayodele. So let's join the stage. Dr. Emmanuel, group picture with the panelists. And while we are doing that, Mrs. Okeowo, I don't know if you'd like to share your contact because I know people will want to reach out to you.
So my contact is 070 60 91 93 62. 070 60 60 91 93 62. So on social media as well, you can also go to on Facebook, T&B Educational Consult, Instagram same, TikTok same.
Can you take the number again, ma? Can you take the number again, ma?
070 60 91
91
93
93
62.
Ma?
62.
Okay.
62.
Use this mic.
All right, thank you. All right, T&B Edu Consult on social media, on all social media platforms. Thank you.
Can we please put our hands together and appreciate all our panelists? Please put your hands together, especially if you've learned something from that panel session. Please put your hands together for them. All right. I was going to say, are we tired already? There's more to come. That was an amazing panel session. All right, so we are moving on, and because of time, we won't waste time at all. We are going to the Clarity Manual session, Direct Decision Framework. And I'd like to bring forward Dr. Emmanuel Odumusi for this particular session. Thank you. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, great. So far, what do you think about the program? You know, it's unusual to see core members and youth in a program and they are not sleeping off. They are not yawning. They are not standing up. Why? Are you enjoying it? Have you started getting clarity as we promised? So we still have the next section is going to be practical, and it's just going to be you and you alone. Then we would have, I have Kolade here, Akolade. This guy, I'm going to blow his trumpet. He's the founder of Vant. Vant has done more than 3 billion naira transaction. And I've brought him here because I know when we started to come and tell us, we that want to be entrepreneurs, how can we build, how many of us want to build that kind of product? Okay, it's only me. I know it's not everybody that is meant to be entrepreneurs, but you like to lead something like that, Abi? So he's here, and we also have Mr. Lighton that will talk about career, CV writing, and all. Just be relaxed, be patient. Because of that, I've overruled and said some people you'll be hungry, that we can eat and walk during my session. Is that okay? And you're not going to eat and run away. I will not regret that. Eat and... If you don't want to eat now, just keep it beside you. But in case... don't do it and run, no. So he's here. There are some job opportunities too that we have already for some of you. Like we said, we also mentioned, some of you, we want to help you with CV development. We want to help you do mock interviews. So we'll need to get the details of those that are interested in career line to help you mop up. We have an HR firm that will sit with you and help you develop the CV that would get you the job interview. They will also do mock interviews for you to practice how to pass interviews. For those in the career line. For those in the entrepreneurial line, he will be here to answer all your questions. Once he's done, that's why I delayed him. After this session now, he would come and then he would answer, how have you been scaling your business? What is the secret? What is the sacrifice you're making? Me too, I want to build that kind of business. Then we'll now round up with our pastor to give us the summary. So we have not a long way to go, but we have a lot of storing value. Now, let us see those that are serious. How many of us have this with us? So we're going to treat this now. The lights might go off at any time. Find a way to use your own light. I want it to be you and you yourself. I'm going to take you through this. You're going to try and feel it. Think about it. You are not in a rush. I told the team organizing this that I don't want to do just a program that will not change any life. And I believe that lives are already changing. So this is practical. It came up that we have to do something. First thing here in the workbook here that you have to work on, you have to borrow pen, but you should try and do it because after you're done with this, it will lead to something else. Is one, this maze, the wheel of life, is like the circle of a standard life. You're going to put your current number. And you're going to, I wish I had something I can use. So you're going to, for under attitude, the number on the left is what you use. So for example, attitude, the number minus there. Your personal growth, where are you? Just rate yourself over 10 all through. Health-wise, are you very fit? Or you've been postponing gym? Or you don't have money for gym? Or you have some physical issues you're battling with? Put a number that you feel is honest. And then once you know those numbers, you're going to link all of them together like a circle. So listen, don't start, just listen. Just relax and listen to listen to instruction first.